you ready to learn how to make some rolled paper flowers? These come together quickly and they have a flat back when assembled, so it's great for filling spaces of shadow boxes or mounted in frames or on the walls. I'm here to share a few tips for rolled paper flowers. If you search Design Space, you're going to find a lot of images like these that look like large coils. These are rolled from the outer end to the inner circle tab, which is used to place a drop of hot glue and hold it all together. For the best results, you'll want to use a medium weight, solid core, double-sided material like Cricut cardstock or extra fine crepe paper. You'll also need a Cricut cutting machine, fine point blade and housing, the light grip cutting mat, and the Cricut scraper tool, the reverse tweezers, and a barbecue skewer or wood dowel. Then you just need some hot glue and a glue gun. You can add a bit of a realistic look by either inking or shaping your petals before rolling them, and I'll share a few tips on how I do this. You can use either the Cricut scraper tool or a barbecue skewer to gently shape the outer edges of the petals. Whichever method you prefer, just make sure you gently roll the edges outward. This just helps to give it a little bit of life to your flower. Go around the entire flower until you have all the petal edges rolled away. Another trick for an easier roll is to gently work your paper and your roll to slightly curl it before you actually start rolling. This shaping softens it a little bit, and so it's much easier when you actually do your coil to just roll and go. You have a few options for this. You can use the Cricut scraper tool, like I showed at first, or you can just use a wood barbecue skewer. I prefer the wood skewer. I just feel like I have a little bit more control over my curve with it, and I have less chances of ripping my paper. Now for the actual rolling process. I like the Cricut reverse tweezers for this. You take just the edge in between the tweezers, and then you're just going to roll towards that tab at the opposite end of the coil. So the circular piece at the opposite end will actually sit underneath the center of the completed flower, and that's used to secure the roll. So that's where you'll add your glue. Now it can be a little tricky and finicky using the reverse tweezers for this at first, but you'll get used to it. Just take your time and try to keep the bottom edge of the coil as you're going around all flat and level. Now, another trick that I like for my rolled flowers is using a measuring cup to let your flower just unfold or fill out. I would usually use an eighth of a cup measuring cup for this size of a rose, but that's what I had on hand, so that's what I did. So you uh, turn it over, put it in the cup, or you could just put it in your hand and kind of just let it fluff out and unravel just a little bit. And then you're going to go ahead and add your drop of glue. Now I'm just um, adding little details to mine. You don't have to do this for the basic rolled flowers, but I wanted mine to sit a little bit centered. So I used a rolling tool and just added a little bit of extra dimension. Now the only thing that's left is just to add some hot glue down underneath your coil on that middle tab and then hold your flower in place. I like tight centers, so I usually will use the tweezers and go ahead and wrap my center piece a little bit tighter and hold it until it's set. And that's how you do basically every type of rolled flower. in Design Space. Another option, if you don't have the reverse action tweezers, you can just use a wood barbecue skewer to roll your flour. It's the same concept. You start with that outer edge and you're just going to hold it in place and slowly roll your coil until the entire thing is tight. And another thing that I like about the barbecue skewers is you can kind of fluff your roll in place as it's on the skewer before you add your glue. So for the crepe paper rolled flowers, we're going to use the exact same technique for the rolling. The only difference between the crepe and the paper flowers is the way we're going to shape our petals. Crepe paper is very delicate and thin, so you just need to gently stretch the outside edges of the petals between your fingers. You don't have to do it very much. You just want to add a little bit of texture. Don't mind my husband butting in my video trying to pick birthday gifts for his parents. Um, keep going around the coil until you have all those edges shaped. My favorite tool for rolling the crepe paper roses is actually just a regular pencil. You use the same concept we did with the wood dowels and the paper. We're just going to take that edge that's opposite of the middle center tab and hold it with your thumb around the pencil and then just continue the roll. You want to try to keep that bottom edge of the coil aligned, and then before you take it off the pencil, you can just let go a little bit and fluff your layers. Once you take the pencil off, you can just let the flower roll, fluff slightly, and then you're going to add glue along that bottom middle tab. You don't really have to use as much as I'm using right now. That's my technique for trying to keep my rows evenly spaced. I like to kind of set down that outside row and then fluff the rest of the roll with my fingers. And that's it.